What's up, everybody? It's Miss Erica from Use Love. I'm sitting here in the kitchen, but I have a gardening video for you today. I'm actually sitting where I can see the garden. It's one of my favorite places to sit. So this video shows you how to start plants from seed. In particular, we're doing edible plants. We have some vegetables and some herbs. And the beautiful thing is that this little project is actually in preparation for Use Love's very first family workshop. That's happening on Saturday, October 2nd, 2021. And it's going to be held from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. So if you look in the description box below, you'll see links where you can go get all the information to purchase a ticket for one kid and one adult for that workshop on October 2nd. You will leave with a vegetable plant, an herb, both those in a nice container that you can take home and tend to and let it grow and feed your family a little bit of something delicious. And you'll also have the skills to expand your garden if you decided that's something you want to do. So, with all that being said, we're going to get into the video. I will have all of the materials that you need listed below with links where available. And on the screen coming up next, you'll have all of the materials. So you can pause that, make sure you have everything, and then you can follow along with me as we get started. Okay, I hope you enjoy. See you soon. Peace.
Do you remember the 21st night of September? There was change in the mind of pretender, while chasing the clouds away. Hearts were ringing in the key that our souls were singing as we danced in the night.
So now I'm showing you the seeds that we're going to use. The first one I'm showing is lettuce. I have two kinds, but they're very similar. This one from Medicinal Seeds I planted in the spring, and I still have a little bit left over. It's artisanal with multiple colors. Something really similar from University of Maryland. So we're going to prioritize that one because it comes from the area that we're planting. The second I have here is carrot. This is a sweet, short orange carrot I got from Strictly Medicinal Seeds. It's going to be delicious. I have green bunching onions. Those really nice little green onions we like to put on things like potatoes and Asian dishes. So good. I planted some of this in the spring too, but we're going to put more now. I have winter kale here next. This one is supposed to be a little bit more tender than the kale you get at the store. And it's also winter hardy, so you should be able to keep picking from it over the winter. Next, I have cilantro or coriander, depending where you come from. You call it different things, but this is that nice green herb that we like to put on our tacos, if you know what I'm talking about. So that's what we're planting today. Next up, we have popsicle sticks. We use these as labels with a Sharpie. We have a better chance of it staying on the stick. Got them at the dollar store, very affordable, easy to find. I have a seed tray that I had from the spring, actually. I got it in Walmart. I'm going to list some other options that you can use if you don't want to actually buy a seed tray. So there's spots for each little plant, and we have our seeds, our labels, our tray. I have a little spoon here to put the seed starting mixture inside of the tray. You'll see how I do that in a little bit. Leads me to the seed starting mixture. You can get these at Walmart, at any home improvement store. If you want to make your own, you can Google the recipe to make your own, but it's really much easier to just go ahead and buy it from the store. I have gloves. And I'm going to grab a bucket so we can get our seed starting mixture together. So you'll notice there's different parts. I'm kind of making sure all the little openings are ready to go. So it has the part you put the seeds in, those little containers. There's a tray underneath, that black tray. That's to catch any water and any seed starting mixture that falls through. You'll notice there's little holes you can see here at the bottom of each section. And that's for a couple of reasons. It's so that the water can filter through, and also if the roots are going to keep on going, they don't get stuck. But it's mostly to let the water get through. So now I'm taking the seed starting mix and I'm putting just enough to fill in our tray. I made a good estimate because I've done it a few times. It's okay if you get it wrong. Now I'm wetting it down. If you know you're going to have your seed tray inside, which is where most people will want to keep their seed tray, and also if you're doing this when the weather's more cool, you want to use hot dirt. So that means you warm up the water before you start mixing. And it'll be nice and warm when you actually put the seeds down, so it helps the seeds to germinate. Mine's actually going to stay outside in a part of my garden that's not as windy. So I'm going to try this time to just use my regular water and see if we've been having the right temperatures. If you want to be really sure about germination, you definitely want to use hot water and have it in a nice safe location. I'm mixing this up until it starts to look like a brownie mixture. You can see I'm not quite there yet. It's a little too crumbly still, a little too dry, so I'm putting a little bit more water. And just keep mixing, keep mixing. Now's a good time to let you know that seeds are going to germinate in this area if they're at a constant temperature between 65 degrees and 85 degrees. So outside, I'm going to be okay. My mixture's looking pretty good now. And so I'm going to start getting the mixture into the tray. So with my spoon, I'm just filling in my pieces here. You'll notice I kind of lightly tap it down, but you don't really want to tap down too much. You don't want the dirt to be tightly compacted in there. You more so want it to just have enough air pockets so that all of the roots can kind of get through and move how they need to. I would suggest when you're first doing this that you don't really do much tapping at all. I'm going to show you kind of a trick in a little bit. I'm kind of showing with my finger now, but I'll show you in a minute with the spoon how we can make sure it's full but not tightly packed. I'm doing about 2 spoons per section for this like standard seed tray. Obviously, if you use a different kind of seed tray, you will, use a different amount of dirt, but I'm just kind of showing you what I do with this. Pretty soon, I think I'm going to start speeding this up. Yeah, I'm going to speed this up pretty soon because I'm just going to fill in the whole tray. You can sing and hum as you make your seed trays and you plant your seeds. So you're giving them some love and good vibes, and good feelings, and promise. Let me see how these are going. These are okay. So now I'm kind of showing you how I make sure that they're full but not compacted. I have the spoon turned the other way, so the handle of it I'm kind of poking down. That's letting the dirt fall into the the holes how it needs to. You want to have enough material that the roots can kind of hold on and the plant can have the structure that it needs, but you don't want it to be so tight that this brand new plant with its really not so strong roots has a hard time kind of getting through. You know, obviously you want it to learn to have strong roots too, but you know, you want to err on the side of nice and loose. But just having enough, like anything else, the more you do it, the more you get a feel for how much dirt you actually want and what you need in there. So you'll be fine as long as you have a nice, wet, good mixture. Here's how I clean up a little bit. Obviously, if you're keeping inside, you want it to be a little bit neater. If you're working on this inside, I could have mentioned earlier maybe that you want to get maybe a tarp or some newspaper or something just to catch everything. But I like to just kind of scrape off anything on the in-betweens. That also helps me see if I need to add any more dirt like I'm doing here. And yeah, we're just about ready to go. You'll notice some of this dirt, once we get toward the bottom of that bucket, it's a little bit drier. So I'm going to give it one more little watering before we start putting our plants down. So I said plants, but they are little plants, just potential of plants, you know, when we put our seeds down. So I'm giving one more good water so that when our seeds touch that mixture, they'll be like, ooh, this is the perfect condition for me to grow and become alive. All right, so you can see it's pretty wet. I also knew mine was going to be outside, so I wanted to make sure it was nice and wet. Now it's time to start making our labels. I'm actually going to do one stick for each type of plant, and you'll see how I lay out my sections. So I only really need one stick. You can see how I do it. I just kind of lay out a color for each vegetable type and herb type. I kind of like to make mine with the reasoning that makes sense to me. I ended up changing one of these colors because I thought the red and the orange were a little too close to each other, but yeah, I was showing the red of the lettuce. I thought that would be nice, but the red's going to be too close to the orange, and just in case my label washes off, I want it to be clear. So what I'm doing is I'm writing really dark as much as I can. I'm kind of going over the letters a few times with my Sharpie. Again, mine's going to be outside, so I want to give it the best chance of staying on there. The other thing you could do is actually write the color you use on your seed packet, just in case it does wipe off, and that way you'll kind of know what's what. You might not think you would forget, but over a couple of weeks you might forget what's what. So I'm thinking about what I want the most of. I know I want a good bit of kale, a good bit of carrot, a good bit of lettuce, and a little bit of the cilantro and the onions. So I'm kind of thinking about how I'm laying things out, and then I get to going. Look how pretty. It's time to put the seeds down. That's kale. Tiny little black seed. That's kale. I'm placing about 3 seeds per little hole. Everybody has a different opinion on that. I do about 3 just in case they don't germinate. Then you might get 1, you might get 2, you might get 3. In the event that you have more plants than you need, you do need to take out the ones that don't look as strong, and you can let those go to the compost so they can keep on living in another form. Or I don't know, maybe you could try to put them in a tray, an empty tray. Up to you. Alright, so I have 15 kale, 15 lettuce. I'll have 12 carrots, 12 onions, and then I'll have just 6 cilantro. Okay, so now I'm just placing everything else. First up is the lettuce. I used what was left of my strictly medicinal seeds. I only had a few left. And you'll see how sometimes you want to actually tear open your packet so you can grab everything. We don't want to waste anything at all. Next, I have the one from University of Maryland. You'll see that they're all different color seeds, and that's so cool because the lettuces actually end up being all different colors too. I thought that was pretty cool. After that, we get into the onion seed. That's that tiny little black seed, the bunching onion right there. And after this, we have the seed I was most intrigued with. You'll see because I show it so long. That is the cilantro seed. And it's funny because it's the biggest seed of the lot, but the smallest herb that we're actually planting. So everything else, I put about 3 seeds per slot. With the cilantro, I actually put 2 seeds per slot. I didn't notice that my camera strap was in the way until I started editing, so sorry about that, but you can still see what you need to see. Now that you've prepared your seed tray, all you want to do is make sure it stays moisturized and in a warm location. The best possible way to moisturize your seed tray is to use a mister. This way you're not disturbing the seeds or the little baby seedlings when they start to pop up. Here I'm showing you a cheap mister head that you can get from big box stores like Walmart. And we're done. Here I am, excited to show you our seed tray, all ready to go. And we're gonna let them grow. So as a bonus, I wanted to show you guys how you can actually sprout garlic if you want to plant that as well. So here I have some garlic I've already sprouted. I put it in a little container that I was finished using, and you see that they're actually already starting to sprout. They've been in there for about 1 week. So you want to grab some organic garlic. I got mine from Walmart because that's what was available to me, but of course if you can get a fresh farmer's garlic, or if you have some other responsible retailers that you could get your garlic from, just make sure it's organic. I separate out the cloves. You want to use the biggest possible cloves because that's going to give you the most yield of garlic that you can get. So here I kind of snap the top off a little bit so I can get to it a little bit easier. And so I just keep on separating it. And so I'm going to keep the smaller cloves to cook with, and the bigger cloves I'll actually root. You can see the size difference, what I'm talking about. And anyone that uses garlic, you know that it just kind of depends with each one you get. Sometimes you get a bunch of little bitties, sometimes you get some big ones. You just kind of work with what you got. But yeah, those bigger ones are going to be your better option for planting. So I'm going to take my big ones, and what I'll do is I will put the root side down. So that little part that has a little sticky things coming out of it, that's going to turn into roots like this one here. You can kind of see, hopefully. Once it's sat in the water for a little bit, they extend out and they become roots. That's what's going to go down into the dirt to root down the garlic plant. The tops will stick up a little green section, and as you get a nice green section, you know it's going to be time for you to go ahead and put it in the ground. So that's how you can root garlic from garlic you already bought to get more garlic. Basically, you can see here the amount of water I have. It's very little bit. So you make sure that that's sitting in the water, and after a few days, your little green sprouts are going to start popping up. It's super, super easy to actually sprout and grow your own garlic. Okay, guys, that's it for this video. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Do you remember?